So now we're going to go ahead and move on to the next division, which is going to be the AFC North, starting off with the Cincinnati Bengals, then moving to the Cleveland Browns, Baltimore Ravens, and then the Pittsburgh Steelers. With the Cincinnati Bengals, I'm going to go ahead and start it off with a C, same grade as the last one. You lose Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon, Jonah Williams, Chidobe Awuzie. It's a lot of big losses there. You bring in Mike Gesicki, who's an okay tight end, and you also are probably going to get big contributions from Eric All this season as well from a rookie. Trent Brown is a great addition at tackle. Also, you have your first round pick, and Marius Mims going to be potentially playing tackle, maybe going to develop. Not sure where he's going to really fit in at this moment. Geno Stone is a big acquisition at the safety position, but your running back room got worse. Your wide receiver room got worse. Your tight end room got a little better. Your tackle room got a little bit better. Your offensive guard room got a little bit worse. It's just kind of up and down. Corners worse, safeties better. So you're kind of just kind of stuck in the middle. It's not that you didn't do anything, and a lot of your contribution is going to be coming from draft picks. It's just you lost a lot and you kind of gained a lot. So you're kind of stuck there in the middle. I liked a lot of the moves that they did, but you kind of lost some and gained some. So you're just in the middle for me. C plus is where I'd put the Cincinnati Bengals for this offseason.
Yeah, I'm gonna give them a B minus. Geno Stone, Trent Brown, Amarius Mims. The losing DJ Reader sucks. The thing that I'm confused on, the reason why I'm not, and this offseason grade could change in the coming weeks. It could get a lot better. It could get a lot worse. But what are we doing with T. Higgins? That's my question here.
Absolutely.
Are we forcing him to play? Is he gonna play? Is he showing up to OTAs? Is he going through training camp? Is he gonna play? We've seen what happens when we trot players out on the field that don't really care. Now, I'm of the mindset that if he lines up week 1, he's going to play because that's a talented team and they have a talented quarterback and that they have a chance to do some things and make some noise. But I don't like going into the season with no clear-cut path on what the T. Higgins plan is. And so for me, it's a B minus.
Okay. Yeah, and I think that's fair. And the conversation with T. Higgins was kind of the reason why I kind of stuck with that C grade as well is because there wasn't a clear-cut decision on what we're doing with him.
You do get credit for not losing him for nothing, though.
Sure,
I will throw that out there. Like panicking and trading away from a 4th-round pick would not have been the answer here. So there is slight credit for that. But still, you got to figure out when a player like Brandon Ayuk is silently politicking for a new contract, or when a CeeDee Lamb is like, hey, if I don't get paid, I'm not showing up to training camp, but he's directing that to the GM. Those are things that you can come back from. When a player is openly saying, trade me, I want out of here because you won't pay me, it's a little bit of a weirdness when the group all gets back together for the next season. So I think there needs to be either a small extension here, or why does he want to play? What if he gets hurt? What's in it for him here? So they need to answer that question for me.
For sure. Cleveland Browns. You want to pull this one up, or do you want me to start it off with?
I actually gave the Cleveland Browns were they didn't really do much. Obviously they didn't have a ton of draft picks, so you can't really. I don't know if you can criticize them for not having a good draft, or if you can applaud them for not having a good draft. And then they didn't really do much in free agency. But you get an impact wide receiver for a 5th-round pick. So that's good. Although I'm not a huge Jerry Jeudy fan. It's better than whatever they would have taken in the 5th at the wide receiver position. So, I mean, if there's anything that seems like a solid, like vanilla pudding, tapioca pudding offseason, it seems like this. So I'm just going to stick it right in at a C.
Okay. I actually kind of went high on this one, and I gave them a B plus, and that's because there wasn't any key losses for them. I didn't really see anything where they lost it, and where I was like, oh my gosh, like they're really gonna miss that at that position. They brought back a lot of the people that they were supposed to bring back, like a Zadarius Smith, and then also getting guys like Jerry Jeudy, Shelby Harris, Jordan Hicks, Michael Hall, getting a couple of these impact guys who are coming in and making the immediate impact on a team that is going to need it to make that next push, depending on how their quarterback plays. I just, a big part of it, again, you didn't lose anything that makes me look at you and go, hey, like there's something that you're missing here that you didn't fill in, or whatever you did fill in, it wasn't good enough. Anthony Walker, Sion Taki, okay, cool. But you replace it with Jordan Hicks. I'm okay with that. I'm more than okay with that. So B+ is where I'm going with the Cleveland Browns. And the Baltimore Ravens, I think, is an off-season favorite for a lot of people. And I think that my grade might be just a tad lower than some people's. I give him a B-. You lose Morgan Moses, Kevin Zeitler, so you lose additions, or excuse me, big pieces on the offensive line, along with Patrick Queen and Geno Stone, your interceptions leader, and a big part of your defense from last year. But you also gain Derrick Henry, Kyle Van Noy, Nate Wiggins, Tez Walker, TJ Tampa, a couple rookies that are going to make an impact immediately. Running back room gets better. Offensive tackle, offensive guards, your offensive line gets a little bit worse. But edge rushers get better, linebackers get worse, and your corners do get a little bit better, again, especially with the addition of Nate Wiggins. So I gave him a B- just because a couple of the losses are big time, even though it's only 4 guys. Those are 4 big pieces to this team. Running the ball with those first 2 is huge, especially going to that right-hand side. And then on the defensive side, big 2 contributors, losing them in the offseason, it might hurt a little bit in this upcoming season. So B-.
I give him a B+. I mean, they bring back their star defensive lineman. You get Nate Wiggins. You still TJ Tampa, like later than a lot of people thought that they were gonna, be able to get him. And so I think they added talent all over the place. And everybody knew that Patrick Queen was not re-signing there, because you cannot re-sign 2 linebackers. And so
Right.
I'm not gonna give them a lower grade for not bringing the player back. Matter of fact, if they had handed him money and hamstrung their ability to extend players in the future, I might have given them a lower grade for that. And back at the trade deadline, it's not like you're going to move him for something because you know that you're pushing for a Super Bowl this season. So I was okay with the way they handled the Patrick Queen thing. Obviously, ultimately, he's probably going to turn into a 3rd or 4th round comp pick for them. So
yeah.
It was a smart way to negotiate all that. And, frankly, the Ravens just know how to draft. So
Yeah, no,
whatever comes out of their draft class is bound to be successful. So I thought it was a really good offseason for them.
Yeah. No, and with this next team as well, same thing with the drafting is a huge part of it. The Pittsburgh Steelers, you want to go ahead and start them off?
No,
go first. Really? This is my highest grade.
Is it really? I hated everything they did. That's so funny.
Go ahead. I gave him an A+. So I know that, at the end of the day, what you want to say about Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, they're both better than the previous quarterback room that was there. No matter what, they are better, like sizably better. Even though they're not great players, they are still sizably better than the last group that was in there. Troy Fautanu is going to make an immediate impact, a 1st-round pick. Nate Herbig playing center, Patrick Queen, Dante Jackson, who they ended up losing Deontay Johnson, which is their only key loss. Deshaun Elliott, Zach Frazier, Roman Wilson, Peyton Wilson, a lot of draft picks, yes, but a lot of guys I had high up on my board who I thought were going to make impacts on their own respective teams, like a Frazier, like a Fautanu, like a Wilson, both Wilsons, but they all went to the same team, and they are all going to probably make pretty close to an immediate impact. And again, your only key loss is Deontay Johnson. I gave him an A+ because of all the acquisitions. I think probably the best draft in this class. And again, I think overall you're a better team. Go ahead.
I guess they gave themselves the ability to be better next year.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone was clowning the Steelers defense last year, so adding Patrick Queen is cool. I don't think it moves the needle for them that much. I'm a little. I got a question mark on the Patrick Queen thing. He was surrounded by an amazing defense in Baltimore, so he played well. But now he's stepping into that main position at linebacker, and he's got to prove that he's worth it. I'm not saying he won't, but he has to do it. Roman Wilson is a nice wide receiver. George Pickens is still a massive question mark. I know he's had a couple highlight reel plays, but it's a questionable wide receiver room, and it's a questionable quarterback room. Like you're giving them a good grade because they got rid of Kenny Pickett and added somebody else. But is Russell Wilson better than Kenny Pickett at this point in his career? Can we say that for certain, that Russell Wilson, what he's put on tape the past few years? Now, Kenny Pickett's been terrible. Don't get me wrong, but that you're going into the offseason, you're going into an offense that was the offense that Kenny Pickett was terrible in. So we're just expecting Russell Wilson. That's the tide that raises all boats at this point. I don't really see it. I do give the Steelers credit for making the moves, though. So they knew Kenny Pickett wasn't the answer. They went out and traded for 2 different guys that could be. My personal opinions on those players aside, I mean, don't get me wrong. I watched Russell Wilson terrorize us for years. He's not he's not the same guy, though. So I don't know. I give him credit for making the moves. I give him a solid B- because they went on and got 2 different options for themselves. They had a really, really good draft. Patrick Queen's a phenomenal player. I'll give him a B-.